Thanks, Mono, for those beautiful words. It was the second year of my PhD, and I was at a conference at Barcelona. And what do you do at a conference? Of course, you hit the beach, and you drink one after another, and you start to solve world problems. And in that moment, my supervisor, my current business partner, told me that his father was diagnosed with a cancer, and he doesn't know how much time he still has with his father left. And the only wish he had was to digitalize him in 3D. But there was a slight problem, because at that moment, around 8-9 years ago, there was only solution was just buying these expensive laser scanners of 50,000 euros and make the 3D scanning. But that was not an option. And that's how our journey started. We wanted to allow everybody with a mobile device to make or digitalize their environment in 3D. And basically, we managed in his last days. But of course, we have this ambition to use 3D for our daily activities or help us for our businesses or as an individuals. But of course, there are other opinions as well on this topic, that who doesn't believe in the change of 2D to 3D metamorphosis. And we are open also for those opinions. And let's hear the most trustable person in the world, what he thinks about this topic.
Let me tell you something about this 3D universum. They're total losers, okay? They act like, oh, 3D, it's gonna be the greatest thing ever. But do you remember Jaws, the movie in 3D? Exactly, nobody does. And this AI technology video software, all you need to know is it's fake. Like me talking right now, totally fake.
As I said, we respect other opinions as well, but lucky enough, we have other business partners who believes in the change to make from 2D to 3D, and in their operationals, we help them to be the front runner on this journey. And you may have seen some of our videos online as well, like in Arjan Lubach show with Harry Baudet, as well as Zap Detective and many other. But one significant one, a collaboration with Sogeti, was with the book promotion of Echt, and where we try to basically trick a magician, Victor Mitz. And let's hear that video.
Het is tijd om jouw brein op het verkeerde been te zetten. Oké, kijk goed. Ik heb hier een lege colafles en een bol die ik aan een touwtje heb vastgemaakt. Nu snap je natuurlijk dat die bol nooit dicht door de bovenkant van die fles past. Maar als ik die bovenkant heel even afdek, lijkt het alsof dat wel mogelijk is. De vraag is alleen, hoe kan dat? Echt of nee?
If you haven't read the book already, I highly recommend you to read it, because you will also, throughout my talk, you will see the synthetic media and how this technology can be used to disrupt our market and certain businesses is really well explained. And I hear your inner voices, okay, how all these deep fakes and things relate to 3D. Actually, they're very related to 3D. Because how you make an image, the formation of an image process is starting with 3D. You basically map a full 3D world into a 2D image. And that is, you have to have the 3D understanding first to basically build these 2D images. And if you want to reverse it, which means if you want to manipulate or change or add some value in these 2D images, you need to basically start manipulating the 3D models. Like in this example, if you just look at these two images, move right, left, they're not going to change. But the underlying 3D geometry or the camera viewpoint allow us to create different viewing angles. As in this example, from a single image, basically, if you have the depth information, you can create different viewing angles of the same scenery. And this is only possible with the help of depth information. Of course, there are a lot of hypes and speculations. Yes, you throw all the data to AI algorithm and it's going to fix it. No, it doesn't work. AI algorithm also needs smart decisions. And that's where we include 3D information to help, at least for artificial intelligence algorithms, to perform their task better. And is it only useful to just to create a novel viewpoint? No. Actually, if you have full 3D understanding of a face, you can basically make people talk as they never been. And the video that you're going to watch is the only existing video of Alan Turing, which is created basically with our software.
Hello all, my name is Alan Turing. I'm a mathematician and the inventor of the Turing machine, a precursor of computers as we know them today. One of my most famous inventions was the Turing test, which evaluates the ability of a machine to exhibit intelligent behavior identical to that of a human. Although both those inventions bear my name, it was only through collaboration that I could make such great discoveries. The benefits of being able to work closely with others are often far greater than we can imagine.
So this video is created only one online image of Alan Turing, and the rest is all created with artificially or synthetic reality. You can already imagine this technique being involved in our education. You can have math classes from Alan Turing, or you can hear painting information from Van Gogh, or Mona Lisa can explain her emotions. But we go beyond that. Our initial starting point of our company was actually digitalizing these, my partner's father in 3D, but it wasn't stopping there, to basically communicate with these digital people. And what we did basically, in the last years, we have been working on an algorithm using a single image of a person that we make images talk as they are alive. And we built this technology called deep therapy, where we allow therapists to communicate with their patients for traumatic cases, and using for grief and/or conflict therapies. And the initial results, research results that we obtain, they have a significant impact on their curing of their traumas. Basically, consider you some examples that we have faced during this clinical research, that there are people which were abused during their childhood, and it's always difficult to face their perturbators. But with a controlled setting where therapist controls the talk that the perturbator makes, then they are actually getting the answers they want to hear. And that helps significantly for their curing process. And I think within one of the next speakers, Roshan will be talking more on the grief therapy part of this technology. But is it only for humans that helps to create the 3D and novel viewpoint views, as well as how this technology can be used for different markets? So one of our clients came with a request that they spend a lot of money yearly to just build product visualization. For each retailer online, Amazon, Booking.com, Zalando, Bol.com, for each of these, they have different imagery or different standards for taking a product image. Certain part of that requires only 45-degree angles. Some of them requires 90-degree. So each time they have to go to studio and record these shootings. And each time they spend a lot of money. The question was, can we just, in a random place, just collect with our digital camera, and based on the request of the retailer, can we just make it every viewing angle that the client is requesting? And yes, that is possible. Here you can see an example where actually multiple viewing angles taken by the DSLR camera and a smooth 360-degree product visualization can be done. Of course, this can be done also from different viewing angles as well. But is it only limited to objects like bodies and shoes? No. You can imagine next generation of Google Street View. Basically, you're not restricted to move from one discrete point to another. You will have freedom of move in every single point in Google Street View, like in this example. This is completely synthetically generated from satellite imagery, just using a couple of images and combining them. And as well as, you don't necessarily go for a street, but also for an art, street art. You can go in details wherever you want to be. You can completely zoom in. You can have a completely different viewing angles with this technology. But as well as, imagine next VINT Symposium, maybe in 4D videos, that you will be able to watch this conference from any viewing angle possible, as well as we were talking about this virtual environment, or that COVID pushes us to move more virtual environments, but the office space of yourself can be that just using this technology and create a 4D environment and join meeting sessions. But how do we obtain depth information? Do you still have to buy 50,000 euro laser device? Not really. We moved too far that in the last 5 years, going from 50,000 euro laser scanner requirement to a single image 3D estimation, like in these examples. So at that time, if we would have this technology, maybe our company wouldn't exist. But just giving a person image, we can basically create the full 3D model of that person. You can, of course, imagine this technique can be used for, again, for fashion industry or product visualization and many others. So yes, there is a technique called deep learning, and that is basically helping to create from a lot of given data that it can learn how to create a realistic depth information. And this is possible for structured objects like bodies, objects, man-made objects. But it is still problematic to create for like unstructured objects, like the environment was not observed before. And this is where I'm going to show a live demo. I see the streaming is, yeah, okay. Yeah. What you're going to see is just a mobile device as we envisioned ourselves, and then using this technique, basically anybody who has a mobile phone will be able to make a 3D model of their environment. And it is as intuitive as it gets, that on the screen that you already see the environment that you scan in mesh. And this is all happening locally on the device. I'm building this 3D model. So once you finish the scanning, it takes just a couple of seconds to make basically the 3D model. And all you see is happening live in the mobile device itself. We can go back. Yeah. But what you can do with this technology, is it just 3D models that you get? Of course, you can name many other applications, but one of the applications that we have been working is, I don't know how many of you has a big disappointment that you go your favorite holiday booking service, and then you end up with very beautiful, nice pictures taken, and then you immediately book it, and when you arrive to the place, you're actually fooled with just the perspective of the images. So with this technology, basically, what you see is what you get. You can never be cheated anymore. So you have all space understanding. But as well as this COVID, I think, pushed us again a technology forward that with that the physical visits were restricted, so we were forced actually to do online house visits. When you want to buy a house or rent a house, that you were forced. But if such information is not available there, how you will do that? Just looking at 2D images, which is very primitive. And also, when you buy a house, it doesn't end there. You have to bring multiple contractors, designers to make the renovation in it. So can you imagine how helpful this will be in the process of just buying a house and renovating and the efficiency? But it's not only that. For the next generation of mobile games, it will be within your house or within your space that you scan. You will be interacting with the mixed reality, and you will be basically doing your online games within your environment. And with all the availability of the data, as we see on the previous presentation, with the mixed reality applications, that you will be able to understand your environment. You know where the fridge is, you know where the other components, and if you want to refurnish some part of it, you will have the full understanding of the space. And this is going to help. I don't know if I'm the only one who still thinks these home cleaning robots can be a little bit smarter. And I feel sorry for them that every time they go and hit, and they learn that it shouldn't do it. But with a better mapping of the environment, these robots actually can also perform better. And this is just the starting of the humanoid robots. In the maybe 5 to 10 years, we will have those robots helping in our daily activities. And this is going to also help for the process of that they don't hit from wall to wall. But also refurnishing your house. I usually do this experiment with faces to understand if the audience can recognize the synthetically created faces. But for this particular event, I wanted to show these interior images. Who thinks the left column is actually artificially created? Or sorry, that the real? Nobody? And the middle? A couple of them. And the right column? Yeah. Actually, none of them. So we call this technique virtual staging, that at this moment, we reach to a level that actually this rendered environment, while you're designing your home, looks so real that it is indistinguishable for a human eye, and it makes faster decisions to be done. As well as, I mentioned some gaming, but also it can help your daily activities, and it's not going to help for only humanoid robots, but it's going to help for us as well. Imagine yourself in an environment that you've never been, and this is going to be help the next level of Google Street View for indoors. In an airport or while you're shopping, you will just create your grocery listing, and it will link you through the product that you're searching for. And one of the other products or demands that we help our clients are visual inspection. As you can imagine, as soon as the 3D shape information is not matching the actual product, there is a deformation in it. And that's where most of the companies are understanding or trying to implement in their pipelines that to automate their process of if something is going wrong. And this can be as little as a croissant in the production line and as big as a roller of a mill. This is the size of a human. And this is not only the point where actually it helps people to understand what is going wrong, but it helps also to make their pipeline better, such as in the example of a roller mill. With the advances in the scanning or the easiness of the scanning, they can collect more data. And with collecting more data, they can relate it to the environment. And they can do, first of all, they can do predictive maintenance. And second, they can learn from the data. With associating it, the level of humidity and all kinds of other sensors, they can produce better meals, which is resisting to the time. But also, like we already are experiencing content personalization with our web search, as well as your favorite streaming applications like Netflix. And we enjoy it to get recommendations. But the next level of content personalization is product personalization. So you don't want to wear standard sizes, which is covering average people. And the next generation of it, you will be able to share your body size, and you will have custom products. And this is one of the best examples that the LeBron James Innovation Center, of course, it's in at least the mass, not mass level, so they do high athletes, high-performing athletes. They perform for these individuals products which actually fits them the best to perform better. But this is going to be soon for ourselves as well. We will be able to get better fitting products for ourselves. And one question we have been asking to ourselves, that according to recent research, that 4 items out of 10, both online, which are returned, are due to improper size. And if such technique exists, can you imagine that the amount that we will, the harm that we are giving to the ecology with the packaging as well as the transportation? So if we can reduce these returns, can you imagine how much we can contribute actually to the societal issues? And also, if it is that easy, why there is no such techniques? And what we encounter most of the time, we see two problems. Okay, there are three problems, which is basically they're not looking real. For virtual try-on, you still want something physical, you still want something that you vision yourself in it and see it. But there are other, like the sizing-related issues can be prevented. And why is not that? One of the problems that we encounter is expectation management. Because it's an interesting story that we had with one of our clients. We were demonstrating our solution and how accurate the results are, and we were asking them, so what's your expectation? And the answer is always, never changes, 1 millimeter. It's like, okay, but we find it a little bit unreasonable to expect to get 1 millimeter accuracy. And there were 2 people in the store which are doing manually. And when we ask, okay, if these 2 people independently makes this measurement, what is the difference between them? It's around 1 centimeter. So a human makes an error and tolerates it up to 1 centimeter, but this tolerance is not given to the AI algorithm, so it cannot do more than 1 millimeter. So that's one of the failure cases why these techniques are still not involved. And the second, most of these companies, which you think they build everything with 3D, actually they don't have 3D assets. So not one time, but with many times, what we encounter is, okay, great, let's do, we do trials and things. Where do we get the 3D assets? Oh, we don't have 3D assets. And imagine that you're producing a product, a shoe, clothes, or things, and you can imagine that you build first these designs in 3D. And I'm pretty sure there are somewhere these 3D data, but they're not there. And if they want to, like seasonally, that if they want to produce 10,000 items and go back and make 3D designs, that's where all the discussion stops. So for me, for the metamorphosis, for ourselves to take away message is, like Charles Darwin said, and I don't think it's only for species to survive, but as individuals in a business world, and also as a companies in the business world, to survive, I think we should adopt. Thank you.